Have you ever wondered how the United States became a country? A story that unfolds like a grand epic, the United States has a rich history that begins centuries ago. The tale of this great nation starts with the voyage of a man named Christopher Columbus. In the year 1492, Columbus, an Italian explorer, set sail across the Atlantic Ocean. He was searching for a new route to Asia, but instead, he stumbled upon a continent unknown to him. This New World, as it was called, was the Americas. Fast forward to the year 1607. A group of English settlers known as the Virginia Company embarked on a journey across the Atlantic Ocean. Their destination? Jamestown, Virginia. This marked the first permanent English settlement in the Americas, paving the way for future colonies. However, life in the colonies was far from perfect. Tensions between the colonists and the British Crown were high. The colonists felt oppressed by the British, leading to discontent and unrest. Their dissatisfaction culminated in a revolutionary war against their British rulers. This was the American Revolution, a war fought for freedom and independence. The year 1776 marked a pivotal moment in the history of the United States. The Continental Congress, a group of colonial leaders, declared their independence from the British Crown. This declaration, known as the Declaration of Independence, was a bold statement of defiance and determination. It asserted the colonies' right to be free and independent states. The Declaration of Independence was more than just a piece of paper. It was a symbol of the colonists' struggle for freedom. It represented their aspiration for a government that respected the rights of its citizens. It was a beacon of hope, a promise for a better future. And so, from the ashes of revolution, a new nation was born. The United States of America emerged, a country built on the ideals of liberty, equality, and democracy. A nation with a dream that continues to inspire and shape the world. In 1776, the United States was born, a new nation with high hopes and dreams. The United States rests on a foundation of laws, but do you know what the first law was? Let's journey back to the year 1787, a time when the United States was still in its infancy. In the heart of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a group of men, known as the Founding Fathers, gathered to draft a document that would forever shape the course of the nation, the United States Constitution. The Constitution, in essence, is the supreme law of the land. It outlines the structure of the federal government, delineates its powers, and guarantees the rights of the states. But it's more than just a mundane legal document. It's a testament to the vision of the Founding Fathers, a vision of a nation built on the principles of democracy, checks and balances, and the rule of law. However, the Constitution wasn't perfect. It was subject to intense debates and disagreements. The most contentious of these was the issue of individual rights. This led to the drafting of the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, collectively known as the Bill of Rights, ratified in 1791. The Bill of Rights is a cornerstone of American democracy. It guarantees fundamental rights and freedoms that we often take for granted today. Freedom of speech, religion, and the press. The right to bear arms. The right to a fair trial. These are just a few of the liberties enshrined in the Bill of Rights. These documents, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, are not just pieces of parchment stored in the National Archives. They are living, breathing entities that continue to shape the country's governance. They serve as a beacon of hope, a reminder of our shared values, and a guide for our future. To understand the United States, one must understand its laws. And to understand its laws, one must understand the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They are more than just historical documents. They are the blueprint of the nation, the DNA of American democracy. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the bedrock of American democracy. How did the United States grow from 13 colonies to a nation spanning a continent? This is a question of epic proportions, and our story starts in the year of 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase. This monumental real estate deal doubled the size of the United States virtually overnight. President Thomas Jefferson, seeing an opportunity to secure the country's future, purchased over 800,000 square miles from France for the meager sum of $15 million. This vast expanse of land, stretching from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains, opened up a world of possibilities for the young nation. But the United States didn't stop there. A concept, a belief, a destiny began to take hold. The manifest destiny. This was the belief that the United States was destined by God no less to expand its dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire North American continent. And so, the country pushed westward, driven by a hunger for expansion and opportunity. And as the country grew in size, it also grew in population. Immigrants from Europe and Asia flooded into the United States, seeking a better life in this land of opportunity. Cities sprouted up across the nation and major regions developed, each with its own unique character and identity. Now let's talk about the Industrial Revolution. This was a time of extraordinary change and progress. In the mid-19th century, the United States transformed from a predominantly agrarian society to an industrial powerhouse. Factories sprang up, railroads crisscrossed the nation, and technological innovations like the telegraph and the steam engine revolutionized the way people lived and worked. This period of rapid industrialization brought with it significant social and economic changes. The burgeoning manufacturing sector created jobs, attracting even more immigrants and leading to the growth of cities. The United States was becoming a modern, urban nation. From sea to shining sea, the United States expanded and evolved. From the Louisiana Purchase to the Industrial Revolution, this period of expansion and industrialization laid the foundation for the United States we know today. A country that spans a continent, a nation of diverse regions and people, and a world leader in industry and innovation. What was the deadliest conflict on American soil? That's right, the Civil War, a tumultuous period from 1861 to 1865 that forever shaped the trajectory of this great nation. The seeds of the Civil War were sown long before the first shots were fired. A nation divided North against South over the contentious issue of slavery. The South, economically dependent on the institution of slavery, clashed with the northern states who sought to abolish it. The election of Abraham Lincoln, a known opponent of slavery, was the final straw, leading to the secession of southern states and the commencement of the Civil War. The Civil War was a bloody and brutal conflict, claiming more American lives than any other war in history. Yet, amidst the chaos, a beacon of hope emerged: the Emancipation Proclamation. Issued by President Lincoln in 1862, it declared enslaved people in Confederate-held territories to be free, changing the very nature of the war. The end of the war in 1865 marked the beginning of the Reconstruction era, a period of rebuilding and redefining the American identity. It was during this time that the Constitution was fundamentally altered with the addition of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, marking a significant step towards equality. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former enslaved people, and guaranteed equal protection under the law. The 15th Amendment, meanwhile, prohibited the denial of the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. These amendments represented seismic shifts in the social and political landscape of the United States, paving the way for a more inclusive and equal society. However, the road to true equality was, and continues to be, long and fraught with challenges. A nation divided, then rebuilt, emerged stronger after the Civil War. The legacy of this conflict and the profound changes it brought about continue to shape the United States to this day. How did the United States become a global superpower? This question takes us to the remarkable journey of the 20th century, a pivotal era in American history. The dawn of the 20th century saw the United States emerging from its relatively isolated past, stepping onto the global stage. The First World War marked the beginning of America's significant involvement in international affairs. The nation didn't remain unscathed, but the experience set the stage for its ascent as a global power. Then came the Roaring Twenties, a time of economic prosperity and cultural dynamism. But the euphoria was short-lived, as the Great Depression, the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world, hit the nation in the 30s. It was a time of great hardship, but it also brought forth resilience and reform. The Second World War was another defining moment. America's military and economic strength played a crucial role in the Allied victory, further cementing its status as a global superpower. The nation emerged from the war as the world's leading economic power, a position it has maintained to this day. The post-war era witnessed the onset of the Cold War, a geopolitical chess game between the United States and the Soviet Union. It was a time of ideological battles and nuclear threats, but also of space races and technological advances. Parallel to these global events, the nation was grappling with its own internal struggles. The Civil Rights Movement, a pivotal domestic event of the century, led to landmark changes in laws and shifted societal norms, striving for racial equality. Simultaneously, the American economy saw exponential growth. The rise of industries, technological advancements, and a booming population transformed the national landscape. By the end of the century, the United States, with its diverse and vibrant population of over 280 million, stood as a beacon of democracy and economic prowess. The 20th century, a time of challenges and triumphs, solidified the United States' position on the world stage. The United States emerged as a global superpower, a role it continues to play as we navigate the complexities of the 21st century. Where is the United States heading in the 21st century? That's a question on many minds, and it's one we'll explore in this segment. The dawn of the 21st century brought with it a wave of change, marked with events that left indelible imprints on the fabric of America. The first decade itself was shaken by the horrific 9/11 attacks, an event that changed the world, and especially the United States, forever. It ushered in a new era of security measures, public policy, and international relations. Just as the nation was coming to grips with this new reality, it was hit by the 2008 financial crisis. The worst economic disaster since the Great Depression of the 1930s, it led to millions losing their homes and jobs. But it also spurred significant reform in financial regulation and oversight, highlighting the resilience of the American spirit. Then there's the ongoing challenge that is the COVID-19 pandemic. It has tested the country's healthcare system, economy, and indeed, the resilience of its people, like never before. But with every challenge comes opportunity. The pandemic has accelerated technological advancements, remote work culture, and forced us to rethink our healthcare strategies. But what does the future hold? That's a question with as many answers as there are stars in the sky. The United States, with its vibrant diversity, economic strength, and innovative spirit, stands at a crossroads. The challenges are many: climate change, economic inequality, political polarization, to name a few. But so are the opportunities: advancements in technology, renewable energy, social justice reforms, and more. The path forward isn't set in stone. It's being written every day by the actions of its people, its leaders, and its institutions. The United States, as it has done for more than 2 centuries, continues to evolve, adapt, and strive for a more perfect union. In the 21st century, the United States continues to write its story, and what an exciting story it promises to be. So, what have we learned about the history of the United States? We've journeyed from the birth of this great nation, born from the desire for freedom and self-governance. We've seen how the Founding Fathers laid the groundwork for a new kind of government with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Principles like freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and the separation of powers were enshrined in these documents, forming the bedrock of American democracy. We've borne witness to the country's expansion, from the original 13 colonies to 50 states spanning from sea to shining sea. We've seen how the Industrial Revolution transformed the nation, driving economic growth and technological innovation. We've watched as cities rose, railways spanned across the continent, and industries boomed. We've delved into the heartache and turmoil of the Civil War, a brutal conflict that threatened to tear the nation apart. But from that pain came Reconstruction, an era of healing and rebuilding, where the promise of equality was extended to all citizens, regardless of color. We've explored the triumphs and tragedies of the 20th century, from 2 world wars that tested the nation's mettle, to the civil rights movement that fought for equality and justice. We've seen the growth of America's global influence, from the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific, to the moon and beyond. And finally, we've looked at the dawn of the 21st century, a time of unprecedented change and challenge. From the digital revolution to the fight against climate change, we've seen how the United States has continued to adapt and innovate. But why is it important to understand all of this? Because history is not just about the past. It's about understanding the present and informing the future. It's about learning from our mistakes, celebrating our achievements, and understanding the values and principles that guide us. The history of the United States is a rich tapestry of diverse stories, woven together by the common threads of resilience, innovation, and the pursuit of freedom. It's a story of a nation that, despite its flaws and missteps, has continually striven to live up to its ideals. And as we move forward, it's crucial to remember these lessons, from our history. To remember that freedom and democracy are not given but fought for. To remember that innovation and progress require courage and tenacity. And to remember that our diversity is not a weakness, but our greatest strength. So as we close this journey through American history, let's carry these lessons with us. Let's continue to learn, to grow, and to strive for a better future. From its birth to the present day, the story of the United States is a tale of resilience, innovation, and the pursuit of freedom.